Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Meenakshi Karwal, and I'm working as an Assistant Professor in Environmental Sciences and Assistant Dean, Promotion and Implementation of Sustainable Development in Research at KIET Group of Institution, Ghaziabad. I am very much delighted to know that National Museum of Natural History, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change is organizing an online summer vacation program 2022. And I'm going to speak on the topic of solid waste management. These waste can neither flow as a liquid nor escape into the atmosphere as a gas and cannot be used for any consumption for human purpose. These solid waste are of various types and have many sources. And depending on that, we categorize the type of the solid waste too. Now, when we see that the various sources of solid waste, it includes, first of all, agricultural sources that consist of the various kind of the biodegradable waste, buffalo dung, vegetable waste, crop residues, and other kind of biodegradable units. Then after that, when we talk about the institution waste, so institutions, all the institution, whether it is a schools, it is college or the universities or any kind of other commercial buildings, they produces both kind of biodegradable as well as non-biodegradable waste. So biodegradable waste which are produced from the institutions are like paper waste, then yard waste, horticulture waste, leaves waste and vegetable covers and the peels of the vegetable and the fruits, etc. Moreover, institution waste also produces the non-biodegradable waste like plastic, paper, like electronic waste, etc. So after that, when we see towards the other like sources, we see that industrial waste is again one of the source, and industries that produces the kind of waste depends upon the type of industry. Either it is a industry which is producing the organic product that is decomposable, that is biodegradable in nature, and the industry which are producing the non-biodegradable waste like the metallurgical industries. So the industry which are producing the organic waste includes the slaughterhouses industries, tannery industries, then pulp and paper mills, fruit industry, like crop industries, etc. Then when we talk about the furthermore, we inculcate ourselves to see the sources. So sources of the solid waste also includes the municipal houses which produce various kind of construction and demolition waste, then street sweeps and sewage waste that is being generated from the sewage treatment plants. So these are the various sources from where the solid wastes are generated, and they may produce hazardous as well as non-hazardous waste. Hospitals are again a sources which produces the hospital waste and which are very dangerous too. So these are the sources which I have just discussed that the type of waste are being generated. Now when we talk about the kind of waste, what kind of waste are there? So waste can be categorized into many ways. First of all, it may be biodegradable or non-biodegradable. So the difference between the biodegradable and non-biodegradable is that any kind of organic waste that can be decomposed by the microorganism and converted into a nutrient-rich manure, that kind of waste is known as the biodegradable waste. This includes mainly all kind of organic waste like vegetable peels or the food waste or the lawn waste, yard waste, cow dung, animal excreta, etc. Second kind of waste is the non-biodegradable waste that cannot be decomposed by the microorganism, which are also known as decomposers. So these kind of waste which cannot be decomposed are known as the non-biodegradable waste, and it includes the plastic waste, then like metal waste, electronic waste, etc. So after that, another categorization of the waste is the combustible waste or non-combustible waste. So combustible waste are those waste that can be burned easily, and non-combustible waste that cannot be burned further. And third category is the construction and the demolition waste. Construction waste are those waste which are produced during the construction of any building or the construction of any institution or anything. And demolition waste is produced during the the destruction of any kind of constructed resources. So another kind of waste is the bulky waste is there, right? And then we categorize the waste into dry waste as well as wet waste too. You might have seen in the malls and all that there are many dustbins and all that are placed on, and it is written over there that it is of dry waste and wet waste should be dumped into that particularly colored dustbin. So dry waste are those waste that does not have the moisture content, and wet waste are those that consist of the moisture content. So wet waste would include the food waste, lawn waste, yard waste, leaves waste, etc. that constitute of the moisture content. But if we see to the paper, then paper would come under the dry waste. Dry waste would also include the metal waste, plastic waste, electronic devices, etc. So when we talk about the plastic, is another kind of waste which may have a potential to cause disaster to our lives, to man and its environment. So another kind of waste, if we see, that is the waste which is generated from the hospital, that is the hospital waste. So it may include the syringe, that is the used one, then other kind of things like organs, waste organs, radioactive kind of radiations, radioactive waste, then infectious pathogenic waste that may be produced from the hospital. Such kind of waste are which are liberated from the hospital comes under the hazardous waste. So hazardous waste, basically if we see, it is the another category of the solid waste, and which is not specifically produced from the hospital waste only. It may be produced from the industry also or household activity also, and these are the waste which are potentially dangerous either immediately or after a long period like down to the man and its environment. Hazardous waste have its characteristic like it is highly ignitable, it is corrosive in nature, then it may be pathogenic, then it is explosive in nature. So these are the various characteristics of the hazardous waste. So we have seen yet that how many kind of waste are there and from where various different resources or the sources they are produced. So, as we have discussed that a huge amount of solid waste is being generated from various different type of sources, and different varieties of waste are being produced from the different sources. As per an estimate, around 62 million tons of solid waste is being generated annually in India, and like it's a matter of big concern for its regarding its management by the scientists, government agencies, and the like policy makers. If we see previously that how we used to manage the solid waste, so in the previous time, ancient period, mainly the kind of waste which was being generated was of biodegradable in nature. That was feed to the other animals, like hog feeding was there, right? But as we have developed towards the industrialization, commercialization, and modern agricultural activities, there was a kind of shift from the biodegradable waste to the major portion was of the non-biodegradable kind of waste. And these kind of waste like plastic, metal, glasses, and electronic waste, its management was there was a lot of scope to resolve this problem, because it's still a problem that how can we develop a very good technology to resolve these non-biodegradable waste issues. So when we see towards solid waste management may be done in various manners. Like previously we used to just openly dump the waste and because it was mainly the biological content, organic content was high, so it got decomposed during a period of time. But nowadays, because of the plastic and other kind of waste which are produced in the huge amount, when it is dumped outside, it creates a lot of nuisance and other issues. Like open dumping have a problem, like it damages the aesthetic condition of that particular area. It becomes a breeding ground for the mosquitoes, rodents, etc. And many stray animals come there and they eat up the waste, and that plastic get engulfed inside them, and they get diseased, and they infect them, so there is a biodiversity loss in that case also. You may see a video on the plastic cow, entitled as plastic cow, that how many cows got infected because of the eating of the plastic and died because of the same. So, and moreover, open dumping, when it is not treated, the waste is not treated there, it is dumped outside like that only. Whenever anaerobic decomposition would take place, then methane would be produced, which is a greenhouse gas and the global, that is a cause of a global warming. So, you have seen that open dumping has a lot of problem. People also used to do earlier ocean dumping, who has the access to ocean in the surrounding. So, they used to dump the waste in the ocean, and that is going to affect the marine life, of course. And third, people used to do was the open burning, that is burning of the waste. And you might be aware of it, that open burning, as per the solid waste management rule 2016, it is prohibited now, that we cannot burn the waste openly, because open burning it would burn the flammable waste, and that may consist of the chlorinated containing substances like plastic. And because of the burning of the plastic, toxic gases like dioxin, furans and PCB are produced, which are carcinogenic, that is cancer causing in nature. So, other non-conventional methods that are being used nowadays for the waste management processes includes the thermal processing, biological processing, and the mechanical processing. So, before explaining these processing processes, I would like to give you an idea about the system of the waste management, how we used to do it nowadays, if it is being done in an efficient manner. So, in a solid waste management unit, if we visit, then we would first see a storage system where the waste, the collected waste is being stored, and there is a transportation system from the collection or the collected or the stored unit to the processing unit. In that processing unit, there may be the processing of biological processing, then or the mechanical, or it may be involved the thermal processing. And after that, recyclable item is went for the recycling unit, and then the waste is being dumped to the sanitary landfill or the dump yards. That cannot be processed further. Okay, so now let's come to the processing part. We were discussing about the processing. So processing includes out of three types, that you may call it processing or the treatment. So solid waste, first of all, it is collected from the various sector, from the residential, institution and other sectors, industrial sector. Then they are segregated, means they are separated from the organic to the non-organic, that is the biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste are segregated in different parts, like the plastic, then metal and glass and the electronic waste. They are again segregated and sent for the recycling system. Then when we take up the organic waste or the biodegradable waste, whose processing is very much essential further, so we may use here thermal processing can be done. And thermal processing includes the heating treatment, right? As the name is indicating, thermal means the heating treatment is there. So in this treatment, thermal processing, we used to burn the waste. So the various methods are there again, like incinerator is there. The process of heating the waste or burning the waste at a very high temperature of 1100 degrees Celsius in the presence of oxygen is known as incineration, and the burner where the incineration occurs is known as incinerator. So through this method, various kind of hospital waste is also being managed, because they are potentially dangerous and hazardous in nature. And moreover, that the other kind of waste can also be burned there, which are flammable in nature, and that may produce energy, and that energy can be used for the further applications. Then second kind of process is known as pyrolysis. In the pyrolysis method, we burn the waste at a temperature of around 700 to 800 degrees Celsius in the absence of oxygen. And third method is the making the fuel pellet of the combustible waste. It may include the agricultural waste or the paper waste or any other kind of waste. We just compress them, make a brick of it and burn in a thermal reactor, from where energy is produced and we can use that energy for the consumption. So these type of processing where temperature is being used to treat the waste is known as thermal processing. Then second type of processing is known as the biological processing. And before the biological processing, let me introduce you to the mechanical processing, where we break up the waste into the smaller units so that it could be easily handled. Then third type of processing is known as the biological processing. So in the biological processing, as the name is indicating, biological means some life is there, right? Biology, that is the life is there, subject of the study of the life. So here itself, the biological processing include the microorganism or the organism which we may inculcate to break down the organic matter containing organic waste. So these organic waste, when we look upon the organic waste, these are the waste which consist of the carbon, hydrogen component, right? And they consist of the various macromolecules. It may be the leaf waste, it may be the animal excreta, or it may be the human excreta or the animal body or anything that became dead or has the organic matter is ready for the decomposition. Now I am taking the word decomposition again and again. So what is decomposition? Decomposition is the process of breaking up the macromolecule like protein, carbohydrate, fat into the micromolecule. Like protein would get converted into amino acid and amino acid would get converted into the nitrate ion or the nitrite, and that can be further used for the growth of the plant, right? So this is the cycle. We explain it in the nitrogen cycle, in which the macromolecule get converted into the micromolecule, and that micromolecule become the nutrient for the growth, further growth of the plants, right? So this is the process of decomposition. Now decomposition is further of two types. One is the aerobic decomposition, second is the anaerobic decomposition. Aerobic decomposition means the decomposition that occurs in the presence of oxygen. Okay, that is decomposition means breakdown of the complex macromolecule into micromolecule with the help of microorganism, and that are also known as decomposers. Then second part is the anaerobic decomposition. Anaerobic decomposition is the process in which the microorganism break up the macromolecule into micromolecule in the absence of oxygen. Because here in the anaerobic decomposition, absence of oxygen is there, so the carbon present in the macromolecule of the waste would get converted into methane, and nitrogen that is present inside the waste would get converted into ammonia, and then carbon further present or hydrogen present that be converted into, I told you, as it would convert into methane. Then sulfur would get converted into hydrogen sulfide. However, when we see the aerobic decomposition, when the aerobic decomposition occurs, then gases like carbon dioxide, oxide of sulfur, oxide of nitrogen are being produced. So you have seen till that what is the difference between the aerobic and anaerobic decomposition. Now what is this biological processing? The biological processing can be done in various manners. One is the composting, second is the it may be further divided into aerobic composting and anaerobic composting depending upon the oxygenated and unoxygenated environment, and or further if we see that it may be done with the help of vermicomposting. So vermicomposting is the process in which we inculcate earthworms for the decomposition of the organic waste along with the microorganism. So let's have a look on it. We would show you practically, and there we can see how vermicomposting, these little worms, how they are involved in the big processing unit, and how they are decomposing the lawn waste or the yard waste, which is highly lignocellulosic in content, and it takes 6 months to get decomposed. But in our plant, we are decomposing it within 45 days. So, and converting the waste of lawn into a very good quality of manure that is highly rich in hormones, enzymes, and the like plant growth hormones specifically, and the macro and micronutrients. Composting is a process through which microorganisms break up the organic waste into the like inorganic nutrient that can be further used by the plants and all as a organic fertilizer. But when we see their quality in terms of the vermicompost and the compost, then we find out that vermicompost produced through the process of vermicomposting is better than that of the compost quality. So, my dear friends, this is our duty and our own responsibility to protect the nature. And as per the Constitution of India, Article 51 AG, it is the duty of each and every citizen of India to protect the environment and the natural resources and to stand for the nature. So, let's, my dear students, hope this eco-friendly session would help you to bring the enlightenment inside you, and you could work for the environment at your own level for the protection of it, as it is the need of the hour for the protection of earth mother. So, dear friends, as we had discussed about the solid waste management, so one of the very prominent waste, that is the lawn waste, which is being produced from the institute, that is being used in the institute. You may see the lawn here, that in the gardens and the horticulture waste. In our institute, that is KIET group of institution, we are converting the entire lawn waste which is being used in the for the horticulture sector and the leaves too, to convert it into a very good quality of manure through a technology which is known as vermi technology. You may see here the boat. This is the waste management plant through vermi technology that lead to the sustainable development. It generates the circular economy. It is an eco-friendly approach and produce a very good rich quality of organic manure, and thus we are doing environmental conservation and protection at our institute. Come inside, let's show you what is inside there. So, as I have told you earlier, that in the waste management process, the first step is the storage, segregation of the waste, then storage of it, and then transporting it to the recycling unit. So, this is the recycling unit where we have stored the segregated waste. You may see here, this is the entirely the lawn waste which is being produced from the lawn of the KIT group of institution. It also includes the leaf. So, this involves a various process to get decomposed, and as this lignocellulosic content, this grass waste is very difficult to decompose, and naturally it takes 6 months to get decomposed. But through our technology that has been recently patented too, it is being converted into organic manure within 45 days of period only. So this kind of waste, this lawn waste is first of all put inside these tumblers. You may see here, these are the tumblers. We have made it here itself, and in these tumblers they are anaerobically digested and for 20 days of period. And in this digestive, you may see here, these are the this kind of structure also. We are just opening this tumbler so that you can have a good look inside what is inside it. So this is the entirely the lawn waste which is being produced, and after 20 days this would get reduced after the decomposition. And initially in the composting process, this is the only composting process we are before doing the vermicomposting, we are pre-composting our waste where thermophilic decomposition is taking place, and it takes around 60 degrees Celsius. In itself, this is the natural process in which the waste is decomposed, and the first step of the composting includes the thermophilic process where around 60 degree of Celsius temperature is raised up. That is sufficient enough to decompose the entire waste thermophilically. So after this tumbler designed one, we are dumping the waste into this pits. these pits are there. You may see that we have made three pits here. And in these pits, the waste from the tumblers that we have shown here is put here inside these pits, where we are throwing some worms. And in this process, we need to take care that we should regularly agitate it. Like you may see here, the agitation is going on, and there should be shade above it so that the excess of sunlight could not reach to the earthworms, because they are very photosensitive organisms, and rainwater, excess of water should not come here. So for the protection of the earthworm from the sunlight and rainfall, we have set up this unit so that shade could prevent the both. So in these plastic tubs, we are doing vermiculturing, that is culturing of the worms, so that if there is a deficient in the earthworms, then resources, then we can use it further for the decomposition process. So you may see here that bulk of earthworms are there. These are the minute ones, and they have just hatched out from the cocoons, which are the eggs of the earthworms. So these you may see here, so many earthworms are there. So what is the characteristic of the earthworm? How they are working on the waste? Let me explain that. Let's see a bigger worm so that I could show you the part of it also. Yeah, this one. I got one. This one. Can you see this worm? This one. This worm is there. You may see that there are many small fragments are there, and seta are there for its movement, and moreover in the mature worm you would found some cocoons, and the clitellum is being developed inside the worm. So it's very difficult to find a worm with the clitellum. So these worms consist of a ring-shaped structure, and in the ring-shaped structure, cocoons are there. These are coriander-shaped eggs, which leads to hatching. On hatching, they produce 3 to 4 earthworms. So how does these earthworms work? Let me explain you that. So they would they have the tendency to burrow, and they are the burrowing animals. So what they would do, they would burrow inside any kind of solid waste that is in the bulk form, and initially it would fragment the waste through the burrowing habit, and they would ingest the waste, and after the ingestion, the intestine of the form consists of a huge amount of microorganisms that would further digest the waste into the good nutrients that is excreted out through the earthworms, and that excreta is known as the vermicast. And it is very rich in enzymes, hormones, and growth maintaining hormones for the plants, and the macronutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and micronutrients too, like magnesium, manganese, iron, etc., calcium too. So these are the very good resources for the decomposition of the various kind of waste that we could pursue in our homes, in our institution, colleges, and schools. Through this process of technology, vermi-technology, we can manage a huge bulk amount of organic waste, and can reduce it, reuse it in our own places. And as per the solid waste management rule 2016, it has been mentioned there that any premises who is producing the organic waste, biodegradable waste from their place only, they cannot throw it outside, they cannot burn it too, and nor they could do the open dumping. So this is a very good quality solution, significant solving a huge amount of significant issues, impacts on man and its environment. I hope this lecture is brainstorming and could motivate you to bring more ideas for the development of for the conservation of environment and development and innovation of new technology. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.